Cancellations on most routes yesterday and cancellations into this morning have led to some pretty long wait times for some passengers at the BC Ferry terminal here in Tsawwassen.
Ubered out here twice now and Ubered back home once, because last night didn't know about the cancellations at 5 o'clock.
Well, I'm kind of scared because I got to go back to work soon and hoping that we can make it on time.
But I got my pillow, my book, my snacks, and my blanket. I had a snooze.
BC Ferries has also been busy monitoring for safety concerns and says what you see on your weather app may be a lot different on the water.
Our operations team, they're in touch with Environment Canada, not just on an hour-by-hour basis, but much more frequently than that, because our goal is to get going. For people who have had reservations and those sailings have been canceled, we refund the reservations.
And some passengers admit they are taking their time as cleanup continues on Vancouver Island.
My home is in Parksville. The power was out there. It's now back on apparently, but the roads are apparently a mess.
This was Highway 4 east of Port Alberni late last night. Trees and branches littering the roadway. Crews used chainsaws to remove the larger pieces, but not before multiple collisions occurred. Drivers that did make it into town found themselves in near blackout conditions, as did thousands of others on Vancouver Island. The province even went so far as to ask drivers on the island to avoid travel until the winds die down.
And it got pretty scary when our traffic came to a halt again, and I was parked next to a completely crushed brand new pickup truck. The entire glass was smashed in, and it was really scary to see that just a tree could just fall out of nowhere.
BC Ferries says it is encouraging passengers to check the conditions of their sailing before they head out to the ferry terminal today, as winds continue to whip up around the region. Andrea Macpherson, Global News.
Okay, with the storm behind us, Chief Meteorologist Mark Madrya breaks down what many people experienced last night. Mark.
Thanks very much, Colleen. As expected, it was a vicious windstorm across the BC coast, especially here in the south coast, where I have some numbers to show you. Now, as we go through the rest of the day, still windy, but those winds will come down a little more through the afternoon. But look at these values. I should put Comox on here because it did peak kind of after the others at about 100 kilometers an hour. Sisters Island, which is a weather station in the northern Strait of Georgia, 113. There are some others really strong in there. Not as strong in Metro Vancouver because it was an east wind. Typically, it's not as high as, say, a southeast wind, but still in the mid to upper 70s for us late last night and overnight, and more than that off Victoria. The highest wind, and I will update this was on the hour, 1 hour, and between hours it got to 170 kilometers an hour at a place called Sardine Island, which is right here. More on this coming up into my main weather, but that low pressure center still so strong, spinning off the coast. I'll tell you more about that and the forecast in just a few. Colleen?
All right. Thanks, Mark.